What is up, everyone? My name is Michael Pohl with Bay Area Aquatics, and today we're going to be talking about how to make Repashy gel fish food. Alright, so if you've been in the hobby for any amount of time, you've probably heard of Repashy Foods at some point. I heard about them pretty quickly when getting into the hobby. They're a very high quality food. A lot of people really like to feed them, especially breeders, anyone that's trying to get really optimal fish. I always stayed away from it because it's not ready to make, or it's not ready to go right out of the box. And I'm kind of lazy, and I don't like making foods. So I've always kind of stuck with the pre-prepared, frozen, etc. I've started venturing into live foods as I've gotten into breeding, and I finally broke down and said, you know what, I want to try some Repashy. So I have a couple of different types. I've got the bottom scratcher formula that my local fish store actually gave me a sample of to try, because I was sitting there just talking to him one day, and he's like, you still haven't done Repashy? Here, take this, try it, right? So, fantastic in Antioch, California. If you're anywhere near that area, Bay Area type of stuff, Rick's an awesome guy. Definitely go check out his store. But yeah, he gave me a thing of bottom scratcher and like, go try this. You need to try it. You of all people need to be doing it. And I kind of liked it. And so I went and bought a Community Plus one, just because I have more community fish versus the bottom scratcher stuff. But that's just what you get, you know, etc. And so there's a couple pros and cons to this Repashy stuff. The pro is that you're mixing it yourself. So you can add in little additives. You can add in, some people add in medication, which I don't do. I don't do the medicated food thing. Some people add in like dry duckweed. Some people add in, you know, extra little bits of whatever, just so that it gets into their fish's food. Now there's a couple of downsides. This is a fresh food. So once you make it, you either have to feed it or you have to refrigerate it, and it's good for about a week in the refrigerator, or you have to freeze it. And they say it's good for about 6 months in the freezer. I froze mine because I made a big batch of it all at once, and then, you know, cut it up into little cubes. But it's not like a make it and you can leave it by your fish tank for, you know, a week or two. It's a fresh food. You have to take care of it. The other huge downside is this stuff smells disgusting. Absolutely. I was not prepared for that. If you have anyone that has a sensitive nose in your house, make it in your garage, make it outside, do something. This will stink up your house pretty bad. I both have done it. The bottom scratcher was worse for me, but the Community Plus still smelled pretty bad. The other thing to keep in mind with the smell is if you refrigerate it and it's not in a sealed container, that smell is going to get into your fridge, it's going to get into all your foods, and your whole thing's going to smell like Repashy. So if you don't have a separate fish fridge or something like that, that's something to keep in mind. It does smell. But when you freeze it, that smell goes away. So if you're going to make it, I highly recommend making it, pre-cutting it up into either a sheet or just squares, whatever, and then freezing it. It's going to smell a lot better. It's a lot easier to feed, and it's not going to go as bad as quickly, and so you can make a lot more of it at once and then just kind of feed it over the couple of months that you have it. Another thing to keep in mind is this is pretty easy to make. It just takes boiling water and the food. Now, these, you can kind of make these a little thicker, a little thinner, depending on how you like it. I like to do the 1 part Repashy to 3 parts water. It says anywhere from 2 to 3 parts on the bottle. With the community one, you can't go that light on the water. You need to really do like a 1 to 1.5. So like 1 thing powder, 1.5 water, maybe 2, because this stuff, just for some reason, it takes a lot more to get that gel consistency, and wasn't preparing. So the first time I made it and the time that I made it in this video, which is the time I was recording, I actually made it way too runny, and I let it kind of sit, and it never sat fully, and I had to go back in and mix in some powder and freeze it and kind of get it so that it was all set up, and pain in the butt. Definitely make it on the thicker side, for the Community Plus one at least. The other ones, like I said, bottom scratcher, I did 1 part powder, 3 parts water, no problem, feeds just perfect, set up gel, I was able to cut it and slice it and all that, but the Community Plus, which is what most people are probably going to get, definitely go on the heavier side of powder for this one. Now you're probably wondering, how do you make this food? I've talked about the fact that you had to make it. It's not hard to make. All you need is boiling water, the Repashy, you need something to stir the mix with, and then you need some sort of measuring device. Now, it doesn't matter what you use to measure. This goes off a part. So if you use a bottle cap, you know, 1 part Repashy, 2 bottle caps full of water, and that's all you need, right? For me, I was using a 1/4 cup because that kind of filled in my Tupperware section. Really nice, gave me a thin layer that I could cut up and square, and gave me a nice surface area. I like it a little thinner than I do thicker, just because, you know, it lasts longer. I can spread out some more pieces. But you can honestly use pretty much whatever. I know a couple of people that say they make the whole jar all at once. So they pour all the powder in, and then they fill this up with boiling water 2-3 times and pour that in, and then they're done. I didn't want to make the whole thing of it because I didn't need that much of it. I don't feed that much of it. So even the 1/4 cup is going to last me a couple of weeks. So depending on how many fish tanks you're feeding, how much you're feeding it, are you feeding this every day? Are you feeding it once a week? Just keep that in mind. But again, whatever measuring device you use, it can be anything. It's just a part for part. So whatever part powder you put in, 2-3 parts water. Now, once you mix it together in the tray, like I said, you're going to add 1 part powder and 2-3 parts water, or a little more, a little less, depending on how you want it. You're going to want to mix it up really good. And so with the boiling water, that lets it kind of activate and get into the gel form. And then you want to go ahead and just let it sit for 20-30 minutes, I think is what it's supposed to take to set up. Like I said, the video that I recorded making the community one, mine was a little too liquidy, so it never fully set, so I had to go back in and mix some stuff like the next day when I was like, oh, this is still not working all the way. But normally it sets pretty quick in like 20-30 minutes, and you can cut it and gel it and pull it out. It's actually a firm gel that you can hold. Like I said, the next thing you're going to go ahead and do after that is either feed it or cut it up into cubes, or freeze it, or however you want to do it. But that's pretty much how you make it. It's easy. It's just a matter of actually sitting down and mixing stuff. And again, it smells, which is another kind of downside, which makes me not want to make it even more. But the fish really, really do love this. It has some really good quality ingredients in it. So if you're looking for a top quality food, Repashy is definitely one of the ones you want to look at. But again, takes a little bit of effort. So let me know in the comments down below, do you use Repashy foods? Which ones do you like? I know some people like to mix the different ones together, which I haven't tried yet, but you know, more power to them. I've only had the 2, but I probably should mix them at one point just to try it. But yeah, what do you like to use? How much water do you use on each one? Do you use different types of, or different amounts of water for the different ones? Like I said, the bottom scratcher does fine with the 3 parts water, but this one needs a lot less water. Do you just kind of run everything super thick? What do you do? Kind of let me know. I'm just curious on what everyone does. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.